Thank you for joining us for another update on MarkTwainZephyr.com, also our Facebook and Twitter pages at Mark Twain Zephyr. I'm Robert Tabor, Director of Passenger Development, and thanks so much for joining us for our Sunday afternoon update. It is Sunday, April the 25th, 2021. Again, thanks so much for joining us. And we are here aboard the Becky Thatcher museum car, where work has been progressing very well in the last week or so on the museum and display aspects of the car. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and I'm going to show you our first exclusive look at we have some of the exhibit panels already up, and the other side they're still working on, but we're going to give you a first look today at how this car will come together. Alright, now that we have our camera flipped around, this will be the door that passengers will normally enter through. The car behind here will be the Effie Dean, which will be the bar car. Passengers will come through here and they'll have a couple of displays, some photos that we'll be putting up here, and passengers will come here and there's a center section which allows for double the display space. We're going to direct you onto this side when you arrive, and this will tell the story. This whole side will tell the story of the early Zephyrs and the different Zephyrs before and after the Mark Twain. So you see we have some test panels up already for the museum. We'll start on this side. You might recognize these folks. There's good old Ralph Budd and also Ed Budd here. And this is talks about the Zephyr designs, the new innovations. There's of course Albert Dean, photo provided by the family, and some early designs of the Zephyrs. So you'll have a chance when you come out here, we don't want to spoil it, you'll have a chance to read some of the exhibits. So this panel on this side, again, will feature the design of the Zephyr, some of the early advertisements involving the different products that went into the Zephyrs. Here are the Westinghouse air brakes, and over here the steel. Superior Steel Corporation is one of them, of course General Electric, and Timken bearings. So I know it's a little bit dark. Eventually we'll have the track lighting in and we'll be able to do that, but this is just kind of our sneak peek here. Over here is the we'll talk about the speed record that the Pioneer Zephyr achieved, train brakes record run to Chicago, and some of the Zephyr advertising as well. Pioneer Zephyr, Burlington Zephyr, everywhere west. So then let's walk back down here, and then behind us on this panel will be the history of all the different Zephyrs except for the Mark Twain. As you can see, we start back down here with the Pioneer, and I have two panels dedicated to the Pioneer Zephyr. That was a big achievement when I made the 1,000,000th mile in just over 4 years. Of course, that's the RPO. Engine Joe here on the Mark Twain Zephyr had one of those as well. And this is what it looked like. We took this photo at the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry. They just reopened their display a couple months ago after being shut down for most of last year. So it's kind of cool. So two panels, of course, to the father of all the Zephyrs, the Pioneer Zephyrs. And then we have two panels also to the twin Zephyrs, which, of course, as you know, would leave Chicago, go through Illinois before entering Wisconsin, just north of East Dubuque, and then would enter just Minnesota all the way up to Minneapolis, St. Paul, would go through the Wisconsin side of the Mississippi River as opposed to the Iowa and Minnesota side. And it talks about the different equipment. There were actually three different twin Zephyrs over the years. The original inception, and then the second and third versions of the equipment here. So plenty of information and historical panels you'll want to come and see once we have the museum car. And then we also have 2 panels for the Denver Zephyrs as well. And again, of course, it's a little dark, but once we get things all finished, we'll have some nice track lighting probably up there. And you'll have a chance to come and see all this cool stuff. And the last shovel nose, of course, ever built was the General Pershing Zephyr, before they changed the design of the engines. This is kind of cool. We found a souvenir ticket. And of course, the other Zephyrs. Can't forget about them. Sam Houston, Silver Streak Zephyr. Of course, have the Sar Ben Zephyr, the Nebraska Zephyr at the Illinois Railroad Museum. Chicago to Kansas City Zephyr. We have the Ozark State Zephyr here, Texas Zephyr, Zephyr Rocket, California Zephyr, American Royal Zephyr. Who knew there were so many Zephyrs? Anyway, that's our sneak peek here on the Sunday afternoon inside the ever-increasing building, the museum car. And now what people will do is, when everything is said and done, they will proceed into Engine Joe, which will be parked next to it, and you will go in there and you will have a chance to watch some movie clips, and then you'll come back out and beautiful side panel showing the map of the Mark Twain. Then you'll proceed down here, which our crews are still building, as you can see, and this will be more about the history of building the Mark Twain Zephyr, its use on the Burlington, and use in private service. So that's what will go up on this side. And this will talk about we have 1 panel up on this side, and that's our move to Wisconsin. As you can see, took place between July 31st and September 5th, 2020. Moved the 4 cars of the Mark Twain Zephyr and the 1 car of the Pioneer Zephyr up here. There's the route we took. From just outside St. Louis to Springfield to Bloomington and Rockford and Madison, Toma, Eau Claire, and up here to Trigo. And there's our friends Jim and Glenn. We miss you guys. Haven't heard from you in a couple months, but those are our wonderful transporters of the cars. They did such a wonderful job with each and every car. And we have photos here of each car, from Engine Joe to Becky Thatcher to Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer coming up here. So let me flip the camera around real quick. All right, there we go. One of the things our crews have been are trying to figure out before they put them all in here, the additional panels, is so how the air conditioning and the heat will go. And for that, we have Bob and we have John on scene today, and they are discussing some of the aspects of heat and air conditioning in the Becky Thatcher car, which now you put up the center wall.
Yeah, there's all those posters there on the other side that we're trying to figure out for the air conditioning. If you stand one on end each way.
Well, they're both going to be on the same end?
No, one on each end, and we'll have a divider in the middle. And then I'll put a shelf all the way across the top. I just had Phil looking at it, so I want him to bend the duct to sweep it up. Sure, it comes up right in the center, and put a V in there to diffuse it out.
Over.
And then on each panel, we'll have one on each side, and then on that end wall, we'll put for a return.
Before we go, we want to share this interesting letter that was given to us by Richard Leonard of Hamilton, Illinois. He told me that his father, Dr. R.D. Leonard, rode the Mark Twain Zephyr in 1935 on the way from Chicago to Quincy for a preaching assignment. And here's an excerpt of the letter. I don't think I told you about my trip week before last, except that I was going. I left here at 10:30 Central Standard Time on the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad on the Denver train called the Aristocrat. It was a mighty fine train. The Burlington is one of the best roads in the country, and they have huge and powerful engines, and they go very fast and very heavy, luxurious trains. We had 12 cars and got to Burlington, Iowa at 3 o'clock. 4.5 hours for 206 miles, an average of almost 46 miles an hour with 7 stops. They run 60 miles an hour when in open country. At Burlington, I transferred to the waiting Mark Twain Zephyr, a 4-car stainless steel streamliner diesel-powered. This comes up from St. Louis and returns each day. The cars are named for Mark Twain's characters. I think I wrote in Huckleberry Finn. The first unit, the trucks are between the units, one end of each car resting on it so that there are only 5 trucks for the 4-car train. Contains the power and mail, the second express and baggage, the third a kitchen in the front end, then 4 dining tables and some 18 coach seats, which are really more like parlor chairs. And the last unit has coach seats to the front end and a lounge in the rear, which is rounded like the back of a boat. The thing was remarkably quick acceleration and glides along so smoothly that you hardly notice you're moving. It was a wonderful 2-hour ride from Burlington down to the Iowa-Missouri side of the Fathers of the Waters to Quincy. The Zephyr did not seem to go very fast and made all local stops, but it was the most comfortable ride I ever had. And remember, if you have some Mark Twain Zephyr memories to share between you or maybe members of your family, drop us an email at rtabern@spoonertrainride.com. That's rtabern@spoonertrainride.com. You can also check out other people's Mark Twain Zephyr memories by heading to the Mark Twain Zephyr homepage at www.marktwainzephyr.com and clicking on the Your MTZ Memories link on the left-hand side of your screen. We have at least 3 other people who have shared memories so far and would love to share your memories or your family's memories of riding or seeing the Mark Twain Zephyr in action. Well, we hope you enjoyed some of the behind-the-scenes look at what we have. I think, about half of the museum car put together, some of the display panels up. We hope you enjoyed this exclusive look, a little bit of the conversation between John and Bob about the heating and the air conditioning. So, well, hopefully in a few weeks we'll have more of the museum car done, and we'll do another one of our Sunday updates here on the museum car. And we'll have another update for you on the Mark Twain Zephyr coming up next Sunday, May 2nd, 2021. So from the Wisconsin Great Northern aboard the Becky Thatcher museum car. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'm Robert Tabern, Director of Passenger Development for the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. And continue to follow us on marktwainzephyr.com, also our Facebook and Twitter pages at Mark Twain Zephyr. Thanks so much for joining us for another update on the Mark Twain Zephyr at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. Before you go, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's really easy. Depending on what browser you have, just click on the red subscribe button on the lower right-hand side below the video screen, or perhaps it might be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. This way, you won't miss any of our future updates. For restoration updates throughout the week, head over to marktwainzephyr.com and click on the Restoration Updates link. We usually add a few photos during the week. Our next video update will be next Sunday afternoon. And remember, you can stay in touch with us throughout the week, 24/7 on social media. We mainly use Facebook at Mark Twain Zephyr. We also occasionally use Twitter at Mark Twain Zephyr as well. Once again, thanks for following us and liking us and supporting the Mark Twain Zephyr restoration effort at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. We'll see you back next Sunday at this time. Fly